Hey, it's Mel, and today I'm doing my top 10 books of 2015. I had a really good reading year. Well, the last half of it was really good, the first half was a bit iffy, but I read lots of what are not really classics, but they're considered like the things you must read in this year, and also read some of my favourite books. So I don't really have these in any order other than just the ones that I'm going to show you. The first of them being the longest book that I actually read all year, and that was City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. I actually, during this year, read every single Cassandra Clare book other than City of Bones, because I read City of Bones in like October last year. So I read City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Lost Souls, City of Heavenly Fire, City of Fallen Angels, Clockwork Prince, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Princess. I just had to choose like one to show you guys that those are like my favourite books of the year. And that one was City of Heavenly Fire because it's just so epic, and if people say that it's not their favourite book in the series, then they probably haven't read it yet and you have no idea how excited I am for Shadowhunters. I don't even remember being this excited for anything ever because it's gonna be amazing. My obsession with the Mortal Instruments series was sparked this year and it was great. I read like one or two every month for the first half of the year, and I do love the Infernal Devices series loads, but I couldn't include everything, and I thought this would be good to just say that all of them are my favourites. The next book that I have to show you is also a series that I read the entirety of in the year, and that was the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan, this being the Blood of Olympus, also the last book in the series. I really like this one because of Nico's POV, because he's been my favourite character since before he was in the books, and this one was really good. Not sure about that ending, but I waited to read this for so long. Like, as soon as I got the box set of these books, I went through them trying to find a Nico POV, and it was only in this one, so I got to like a Nico POV page and was like, okay, I'm just going to read this one page and then I'm going to go back to like the second book in the series at all. And he mentioned how Will was kind of like Apollo, and I was like laughing so hard. But this is a really good series, and it's not like any of you guys haven't read it. It's about demigods and it's amazing. The next book that I have to show you of my favourites of the year is actually a standalone, which isn't really standalone, but that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which is amazing. It's basically the completed fanfiction from the book Fangirl, which is kind of based on fangirls from the Harry Potter series. Kind of not a standalone, but it is basically amazing because it's Harry Potter if Dragons were canon, which it should have been, but I'm not getting into that argument. But it's just an amazing fantasy romance thing, and there's dragons. Well, there's one dragon, but dragons, and it has commentary on the Harry Potter series, like the Chosen One thing and Dumbledore's relationship with Harry and things that were kind of wrong with the Harry Potter series, please don't kill me, that were kind of like tweaked a bit for this. About this guy called Simon Snow, who's basically Harry Potter but blonde, and then his roommate Baz, who is basically Draco Malfoy but a vampire, was like ill or missing for the first part of the year, and Simon's kind of worrying about him but not really worrying about him, and Baz is in love with him, and it's amazing. And another book that I read this year that I really enjoyed for my top 10 books was The United Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which was amazing. It's basically the story of this circus, because there was a little girl and a little boy that are taken in by these magicians and made to be performers but also kind of competitors for this competition that's taking place, and they're both part of this circus that only opens at nightfall, and it's all about like kind of magical realism in history, and it's set in the 1700s and the 1800s and the 1900s, and it's got all three types of perspective, and it's just really strange but really well written. And also it was written as a NaNoWriMo project, so it's kind of like inspiration of this is what can come out of you writing solidly. I know I love all of these books, but the next one is kind of one that I really love, like kind of obsessed with, and that is The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, the second book in the Raven Cycle series. I read the entire series in like a month. I loved them, so good, amazing. If you haven't read them, just go read them because they're amazing. First one's called The Raven Boys, and basically about this girl called Blue who's been told since the age of 6 that when she meets her true love, if she kisses him he will die, and then all of her like people in her house are psychics, but she's dormant, but she's kind of like a mirror, and it's paranormal but not like overwhelmingly paranormal. This book follows Ronan, who is my favourite character in the entire series because he's amazing, because he's all like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like beat people up and stuff, and then it's like, oh look, it's a baby bird, let me cherish it and keep it forever, because he's a big baby, but they all are. Basically got this really cool dynamic of all of the friends who are just like in love with all of each other. The next book I have to show you that was one of my favourites of the year is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This is an amazing standalone contemporary book. It's following this guy called Simon who's emailing this other guy called Blue, who's not really called Blue, that's just like the name that's not really his name, and this other guy gets hold of the emails and is all like, I'm gonna tell everyone about it if you don't set me up with your friend, and it's just got hilarity and romance and everything is amazing. And I made one of the teachers at my school read it and she really loved it too. She almost cried on a train. So I guess this is really good because it is, and I love it so much. It's just about the 16-year-old boy trying to figure himself out while all of this stuff is going on, and he's like, why did you do this to me? And he's not even worried about himself, he's more concerned about Blue. So it's just amazing. Another book that I really enjoyed this year was The Shadow of the Wind, which is about this boy that is taken to the Cemetery of Forgotten Books, which is the series. His dad shows him this place and he finds this book and he's like really intrigued about the author, and he tries to find out about the author, and then his life starts being mirrored by this author's life, and it's kind of weird and mystical and really strange, but in a good way, and it had plot twists and strange things, and it was amazing. The next favourite book of the year that I have to show you is the first book in a series that I've only read the first 2 of, but this series is a trilogy, so I still have one to go, but I haven't really gotten around to it, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This is amazing, like so well written, and the world is just amazing and perfect with how this girl is living a double life between fantasy and reality, and it's just amazing. Basically this girl is an art student in Prague, and half the time she does that with her friend, and then the other half of the time she's kind of like a servant to these chimera monster things that aren't really monsters, and she's only grown up in that one room, and she's like kind of curious about the entire world, and every year on her birthday she gets like a new language that she can learn. And this guy Brimstone, who's kind of like her father figure, works in wishes and teeth, and it's really weird, and she wants to know about who she is and why these things are happening to her, and then she does, and everything's kind of weird for her because everything's not as she thought it was, and she's like a completely different person now. And basically the doors are like burnt between the worlds, so she can't get back to her chimera family, and everything's a bit bad. And then she meets this guy that's kind of really creepy, and he's kind of like an angel, but he's not an angel. It's just really, really good. The 9th out of the 10 favourite books of the year that I've read is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a amazing historical fiction following this blind girl who's French and this little German boy as they grow up and end up in the same place at the same time and meet in occupied France in the Second World War after she's tried running away with her dad from an area of France, and they both have kind of links to radio in their past, and you don't really get a lot of German people's perspective on the World War other than I'm sorry, so it was kind of interesting to see that. It was just so good and everyone should read it because it's amazing, and it goes from like the 40s to the 50s and then up to present day, and it's intense but not too intense. And it's not really what I expected, even though I don't know what I expected, but it's just a really good book. The last book that I have to show you is also a series, and that is the Percy Jackson series. I read the entirety of at this first start of the year, and then I read the Heroes of Olympus, which is the companion series that I've already talked about, at the last part of the year, and it was amazing. I'm really sad that it wasn't like a key part of my childhood, because I know I would have loved mythology, and I was obsessed with Greek mythology when I was little, but not because of this, just because my dad got me this book of myths. And I can't believe I haven't read this. I'm really disappointed that British children's childhoods didn't have this when it seems like everyone in America did. Like I said before, it's about mythology and demigods. Didn't know, which I highly doubt. I didn't like it as much as the Heroes of Olympus, but that's more because the Heroes of Olympus had a lot of key friendships. But it's kind of like Harry Potter, like how can you not like it? So those were my favourite books of the year, and I'm super excited that I got to read all of those amazing books. So those were all of the books that I have to show you for my favourite books of the year. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that I could give you some recommendations out of my favourite books, because they're all so amazing in my opinion, and I would love to know whether you've read any of these books or you've read different books that you think are better than these. That would be interesting. I hope you enjoyed. Bye!